So the halcyon days before 2015, when visiting a Rolex Authorized dealer, was akin to being a kid in a candy store. A really upscale candy store where the candies are all exquisitely crafted watches. You could simply pick any timepiece that tickled your fancy right off the bat. And if you had a yen for something a bit more specific, like any Rolex that wasn't a Daytona, you could slap down a pre-order and expect to be flashing your new bling in just 4 to 6 weeks. It was a golden era of instant gratification in the luxury watch world. However, fast forward to the post-2018 Rolex exhibition scene, and you'd find the landscape had shifted more dramatically than a soap opera plot twist. As the tides of demand swelled and supply trickled down to a drip, those once plentiful display cases began to look as empty as a promise of just 5 more minutes on a Monday morning. When watches finally did grace the cases again, they came with a new accessory, a tiny green sign proclaiming, "For exhibition only." It was akin to showing up at a buffet only to find the food is behind glass. Look, but don't touch. This shift inevitably led to quite the customer service ballet. Picture the scene. You stride into the store, eyes alight as you spot your dream Rolex within reach. Your heart races, your palms sweat. You're ready to make it yours, only to have your dreams dashed faster than a speeding ticket. "Why won't you sell me this watch right here?" becomes the chorus of dismay echoing through the store. The dealers, perennially stuck between a rock and a hard place, had to explain that selling their showpiece would turn their display case into a ghost town, visually appealing as a barren desert. Navigating this changed ecosystem has been less about straightforward transactions and more about managing a delicate dance of expectations and exclusivity. It's like being invited to a party where you can see the champagne but only drink water. Rolex and its dealers continue to walk this tightrope, striving to keep their showcases enticing while also schooling customers in the fine art of patience. This saga of supply, demand, and display etiquette has turned the simple act of buying a luxury watch into a narrative worthy of being chronicled alongside the greatest dramas of our time. There's been some chatter about early exhibition Rolex watches that were seemingly all style and no substance. Think of them as the horological equivalent of a movie prop, perfect on the outside, but nothing ticking inside. But from what I've seen, these rumors must have been about the rare exceptions. Every exhibition piece I've come across has been ticking proudly. It's possible that in some far-flung corners, the early batches were just empty cases, but personally, I've never spotted such a unicorn. The Authorized dealer dished out some intriguing nuggets of wisdom on the subject. These watches show up sans service card, meaning they're like those beautiful cakes in bakery windows. They take a little tour back to Rolex, get all dolled up, and then jet off to either another showcase or into the arms of a lucky buyer. It's a bit of a high-class custody arrangement if you think about it. As for trying on these beauties, that's dealer's choice. Their dealer is pretty cool about it, allowing anyone who walks through the door to slip one on. And about potentially buying a Rolex that's had more wrist time than a demo iPad at the Apple Store. Honestly, they wouldn't blink an eye. They come swaddled in protective stickers, so they're pretty much mint condition. Up until a few years ago, this was standard practice. The details were not probed too deeply, but the bottom line seems to be this. These watches hang in exhibition limbo until Rolex sends over the warranty card. After that, they're ready to start a committed relationship with a new owner's wrist. Hold up. Why not become part of the opulent Oasis family? Subscribe for cutting-edge updates on the world of horology. Now let's continue our journey. Recently, someone whispered some tantalizing secrets about the inner workings of Rolex Authorized dealers over a cup of coffee that was almost as rich as the gossip. Apparently, the common perception that these luxurious timepieces are sent on a silver platter for display is a bit off the mark. In reality, dealers have to pay up front for every single Rolex that graces their showcases. That's right. Each shiny new watch in those gleaming cases is more like a high-stakes investment than a free sample. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Every single Rolex that arrives at the dealership comes fully equipped with a warranty card, poised and ready for sale. There's no backstage sorting between watches destined for display and those waiting to be snapped up. Essentially, Rolex requires dealers to present a broad spectrum of their catalog, but how they display, promote, or stash these watches for VIP clients is entirely up to the dealers themselves. The actual number of watches on display, that likely scales with the size of the dealership. Think of it as a more square footage, more watches kind of deal. The autonomy Rolex grants its dealers is somewhat akin to a chef in a gourmet restaurant. They have the ingredients, watches, but how they choose to serve them up, display or sell, is their call. Typically, the more expensive models don't linger long in the display cases. Dealers operating much like savvy investors prefer to convert these high-value assets into sales quickly rather than let them sit idle, tying up capital. After all, in the high-stakes world of luxury watches, it's all about keeping the inventory moving and the cash flowing. Now, when it comes to selling those pieces that have been under the spotlight as exhibition models, things can get a bit crafty. If you're one of the chosen few at the top of a dealer's list, you might just get a call offering you a chance to purchase one of these illustrious models. But here's the kicker. Not every dealer is going to wave a flag saying, "This was an exhibition piece." You might need to play detective and ask the right questions. If their authorized dealer pitched an exhibition piece, they expect a little storytelling about its past life. But honestly, a few quirks wouldn't steer them away. It might just add to the charm. Buying one of these watches, even one that's been tried on by who knows how many admirers, is like adopting a retired show dog. Sure, it's had its days of glory, but it's ready for a more personal connection. Each watch is meticulously maintained and protected while on display, ensuring it remains pristine. So snagging an exhibition piece? That's just adding a layer of narrative to an already storied item, kind of like buying a book from your favorite author, signed and a little worn from the reading tour. Navigating the intricacies of Rolex authorized dealers is akin to participating in an elegant dance of display and discretion, a true ballet of the luxury watch world. Generally, when a new shipment clocks in, any watch that's already out for exhibition but is duplicated in the shipment is promptly sold to make way for the new arrival. Yet this isn't a one-size-fits-all approach, as evidenced by a little escapade we had last year. We ventured into a dealer with our sights set on acquiring a Submariner. They had one on display, a prime candidate. However, after engaging in some shop talk with the owner, a man who seemed to have an intimate backstory for every watch in his care, we were presented with a pristine, never-before-displayed Submariner from the secretive confines of the backroom. The displayed model remained undisturbed, proving that not every watch is hurried out as soon as its replacement arrives. Diving deeper into the Rolex reservoir, it's clear that the selection of watches on display is far from arbitrary. It's exquisitely tailored to cater to the regional palate. Picture Dubai, where the showcases might twinkle with more yellow gold and diamonds than the stars in their desert sky, mirroring the opulence that the city embodies. Conversely, stroll through a showroom in St. Louis, and you'll likely encounter a lineup that champions understatement and classic elegance. Is this merely catering to cultural clichés, or is Rolex playing a masterful game of match the market? If you've had the chance to observe the offerings in different locales, one is all ears, or should we say eyes wide open? On another note, Rolex dealers aren't just selling watches, they're cultivating relationships that are designed to last longer than most marriages. Each transaction is treated with a reverence, typically reserved for state secrets, perhaps because the specter of a Rolex secret shopper could be lurking behind any luxury watch aficionado's inquiry. To add a sprinkle of mischief to the mix, some dealers might place a watch in an exhibition-only case when, in reality, it's ready to fly off the shelf the moment they verify you're not in the flipping business. Imagine walking in, falling for a black dial Explorer 2, being told it's not for sale, only to get a call a week later inviting you back to secure your prize. Feels a bit like being part of a very exclusive club, doesn't it? And what of the Rolex VIPs? If you're in this illustrious group, does the usual rigmarole even apply to you? Could you, on a whim, waltz into a dealer, point at a watch in a no-touch display, and simply claim it as your own? I'm curious to hear from the elite. Do the velvet ropes part easily for you, or is there still a curtain of procedure to navigate? Let's get this conversation ticking. Share your experiences, spill your secrets, or confirm your suspicions about the Rolex retail realm. They tipped their hat to their trusty source for tightening the screws on their luxury watch lore with unmatched precision. Pondering if they'd left any cogs untwisted in this tale of opulent tickers, they valued the insights as dearly as a limited edition from the Oyster collection. Now they were all ears, wound up and ready for any extra gems that might come ticking their way.